Spain through to the World Cup. We could definitely say never in doubt there, unless they lost by 7 goals. Obviously, Turkey got a few on the night, but Spain are through to the World Cup. This is how Group E ends. Türkiye will be taking the playoff route. How do you look into this game, Frank, the fact it finished 2-2 with Spain, knowing they were practically there, virtually qualified already? Do you see it that way, or do you see any concerns for Spain that it did finish 2-2?
No, not at all. I think it was a special game for Spain. They already knew that it would be qualified. They would never lose 7-0 against Turkey. Turkey proved that they had pride and they worked hard, but I'm sure it would have been another game if the pressure would have been on Spain to absolutely win that game. So I'm not worried. I mean, Spain is, for me, if it's not the favorite, one of the favorites of the next World Cup. They showed during the qualification and so many other games that they are one of the contenders, and they are in a different level that they've shown today. So no worries. They didn't lose, which is a good thing because you need pride when you play for your national team. But no statements whatsoever about that draw.
They are the favourites to win the World Cup. Is that fair enough?
I think so at the moment, although, I think it's the football that they play or they can play at times is certainly exhilarating. Whether or not the French step up in particular and flex their muscles, which they've got, remains to be seen. And then, England being, I don't know.
What England does there?
Well, I think they are the favourites.
Aye.
I mean, Argentina, yeah, they're going to be a threat, but it's all built still around Messi, isn't it? And Brazil, even though with Ancelotti in there, you wouldn't be convinced about it. Germany played really, really well yesterday, but then in the Slovakian side,
they've been up and down.
They just never turned up. So that was a difficult one. And Portugal, we know, have got a talent, but they have their own deficiencies. So I think from what we've seen in the last 18 months or 2 years, I wouldn't argue against Spain. But it's not as simple as that.
No, the problem is you don't want to be the favourites right now. You want to be the favourites going into the tournament. They've been the best for 18 months, 2 years, as Craig said. How many teams go longer than that in terms of supposedly being the best side in world football or in Europe or whatever it is?
Well, Spain.
These things drop off.
2008, 2010.
But these things drop off. So, yes, you want to be somewhat in a rhythm, somewhat settled. But you don't want to be the favourites right now. You want to be the favourites going into the tournament.
Frank?
Now I just want to know, because I'm very surprised to see England in the second favourite. I know it's an English bookmaker company, I guess, but really, and I think they can surprise. But when you see Portugal being only 6, France behind England, and Argentina, the World Cup, the former World Cup winner, being only 5th, I wonder why you have to put England second if it's not only for business. I really wish to England to do well, but they have to stop that because it's not fair for the other countries. They shouldn't be second.
Not fair. But you are right, though. I mean, England, they've had a better spell getting to the semi-final of the World Cup. Lost to Croatia, final of the Euros, lost in penalties. Got a more experienced manager, but haven't won anything tangible since '66, whereas France have got, and Spain and others have got the historical value of knowing that they can get over the line, particularly this French team. There's a lot of players in this, there's a lot of new players, but there's a lot of players that have been tried and trusted as well and know they can have success. I think the French, I think down to how their manager approaches it. I know he's finishing, I think, after the World Cup. But I do think sometimes, although they've had success, he does hold them back a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see if he takes the reins off in North America. They're definitely a bigger threat to Spain, I would say, than England.
Yeah, you can see a lot more of these Spanish internationals in action with their domestic sides when domestic football returns this weekend. La Liga is back on your screens from Friday. On Saturday, we will see Barcelona back at the Camp Nou, to take on Athletic Club. And on Sunday, it's Elche, the newly promoted team who've made a few waves so far, will be hosting Real Madrid.
Sweden bottom.
So here are all the teams who have qualified so far. I won't go through them all and read them all out.
No,
but you can
please
see
do.
more names added themselves to the list today, including the likes of Spain and Switzerland. We got to see Germany booking their spot this week as well. And the big one today, Scotland, heading to their first World Cup in almost 30 years. That's how things are looking now. When it comes to the playoffs, this is the picture that we are seeing as it stands right now. The draw is to be held on Thursday. This is for the UEFA qualifying campaign. It will be 4 of these teams who will make it to the World Cup finals.
That tells you about this inflated World Cup. That you can have a World Cup campaign as chronic as Sweden had. Now, when Stevie and I were playing, Sweden were always a tough nut to crack, right? Always had good players. And yet, through this Nations League, there's a potential parachute for them to come and play in a tournament when they've finished bottom in the World Cup qualifying group. It's just not right. I'm sorry.
You don't like the Nations League option, making it at least a bit more interesting now, the way that the Nations League came in?
Well, they had this thing called a qualification campaign, and they finished bottom of the group.
How can you finish bottom of the group and then be in the playoffs? How's that?
I understand.
How could anybody think that makes any sense?
I understand the Nations League is something to make the friendlies more interesting, and it gives an avenue. And the only reason it gives an avenue is because they've inflated these competitions, adding more teams to give them that avenue. Yeah. Now, when you see the chances of Sweden going through the way they're playing are probably slim. But when you see sides that are getting horsed in their group and finishing bottom of their World Cup qualifying group, potentially getting to a World Cup, somebody tell me how that enhances an elite level competition. It does not. So I got a problem with that. You know, not just Sweden, but any country who have been so poor in their qualification. Not even missed out on second place playoff by goal difference or a point. Just rock bottom of the group, still having a chance to go and play in a tournament which should be for the best teams. It's just not right. But that's where we are, because FIFA and UEFA want to inflate everything because there's more teams, means more money and more games. That's what it's all about.
Let's bring that graphic back up if we can of the teams that are in the playoffs, Frank, because I'd be interested to know who you think could be making it. There's 4 final spots that will be left for those teams. Anyone that you've got your eye on?
Well, of course, I want to see Italy, because I think Italy has to be in the World Cup. There's been already some mistakes in the recent past, so I want to see them fighting to get their spot in the World Cup, and of course Denmark. I mean, Denmark made a huge mistake drawing at home just before that Scotland game, and they need to show something else to their fans. Otherwise, of course, Sweden. When I read Sweden, I said, Sweden, why is Sweden there? They finished last, and they had 2 points. Okay, I didn't know about the Nation League's position and gift to Sweden. So,
I think definitely Italy should, barring another disaster, which they've had before, they should. Denmark are better than they've shown. They should have wrapped this group up. I think not just the game tonight in Glasgow, it was their home game in Copenhagen against Belarus. I mean, if they'd taken what they should have taken in that game, the goal difference was too much. Scotland would have had to beat them, I think, by 5 or 6, and that was never happening. I think Wales have started to play a lot better. I mean, I don't know how strong they're going to be against better opposition, but Craig Bellamy is getting a tune out to those players. And the rest of them, I don't know, pretty much.
I mean, there's a reason why they're all there.
Yeah.
Including Italy, by the way. I mean, why do they have such a divine right they need to be in the World Cup? Well, no, if you're not good enough, then you're not there.
It's going to be fun to watch those playoffs.
I mean, and I go back to
how many World Cups you've won.
Norway won 8 games out of 8, scoring a gazillion goals. They were absolutely. That's what. And go back to Gattuso moaning about it. He's got an opportunity. I mean, there was many a year that I can remember. If you didn't finish first in your group, that was it.
Done.
There was no second place. There certainly was no Nations League for Sweden. You either won your group and you got to the major tournament, or you finished second and see you next time out. So I don't know why they're complaining. They have a second opportunity against a lot of teams that are let's be honest, Italy should be beating. Even Italy and its current guys, which is not a great side, Italy, but they should still be beating 99% of teams that are in that playoff.